Thank you, Cathaoirleach. And first I want to welcome the Minister. I don't need to welcome the Minister, it's her house as well. But to thank you for coming, Minister, to address this commencement matter. And I mean, the focus today in my commencement matter, and hopefully you'll deal with all of this, Minister, is the need to confirm the number of forestry licences granted since the 1st of January 2023, planting licences that is, and to date, and to confirm that Ireland has formally submitted and it's completed, and that's the emphasis, it's completed application for the state aid approval with the EU Commission, and that there are no outstanding issues by the Commission in relation to this application. So I suppose, Minister, look, I don't doubt your personal commitment to agriculture, forestry, horticulture, any of that, and your slogan that you use very often about planting the right tree in the right place, and I accept all of that. But the reality is today I'm making one prediction, that the target for planting of 8,000 hectares of new forestry this year and every year, it certainly won't happen this year. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a failure to hit the planting targets. It threatens the future supplies of our timber. You know that, I know that. If we do not deliver on our targets, we will of course have implications in terms of our climate targets and aspirations and ambitions, which are rightly set high. There is a frustration amongst foresters and farmers about the delays in the 1.3 million state aid plan that you and Minister McInlogue, the Minister for Agriculture, unveiled. And they're ambitious plans, and I welcome the forestry plans. So the forestry industry in Ireland, Director Mark Macaulay today in the Irish Times warned of that virtually no trees would be planted in the Republic until next winter, and, quote, as a consequence of the promised government supports that have not materialised. Minister, as you know, we cannot plant trees in the summer. It's simply too dry. It doesn't happen. Yes, you might get up to about May, but historically it doesn't really go beyond that. So that's a challenge in itself. When was the necessary paperwork, Minister, completed and lodged with the EU for consideration of the approval for the government scheme? Now, we've had, you and me and the members of the Agricultural Committee have had a lot of engagement on all of this, and there haven't been easy debates and easy discussions. But when you listen to IBEC, someone which has this forestry groups affiliated to IBEC, we see that the Republic has barely reached, they say that the Republic has barely reached a quarter of the figures that they're expected to be. They're blaming licensing delays and the department's bureaucracy on all of this. So I'd be interested to hear what your response is to that. I welcome the government's decision to increase the planting of native species, and I think that's important. I know some people in the forestry sector have an issue with that. I don't. I think it's important that we have our percentage. You've set the targets there for that, and I think rightly so, and I think they're important. Looking at the latest dashboard, Minister, that you'd be very familiar with, we see 0 afforestation licence issued, just 5 kms of road licences, and the lowest volume of felling licences for 2023. That's the reality of it. So what is the issue? And I hope that you'll elaborate in it. But in the few minutes I've left, I looked at figures this morning issued by the Central Statistics Office. And the title is, Who is Planting the New Forests? Back in 2010, now that was a peak for us, farmers, 7,929 farmers planted forests of an area coverage of 8,314 hectares. Now that's interesting because that's sort of the target we're on now. So back in 2010, we had 7,929 farmers based on the SOS figures and 8,314 hectares. That's an enormous amount of hectares. But now, when we go to 2021, the most recent figures in this CS figure, we've 300, a drop from 7,999 farmers down to 360. 360 in 2021. And of course, we see the coverage there is 2,016 hectares. And your target is 8,000 hectares. So we're a hell of a long way short from all of that, Minister. Minister, I look forward to your response.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Boyhan, and thank you for your continued interest in the really important sector that is forestry here in Ireland. And I do welcome the opportunity to update you and other senators on the progress that has been made on the application for state aid approval for the new forestry programme. As you will know, and as you alluded to in your opening speech, the government has committed to a €1.3 billion new forestry programme, which is the biggest and largest funded forestry programme ever introduced by any government here. And it has been designed to have an emphasis on close to nature forestry and to ensure that farmers will be its primary beneficiaries. You will all be aware also from the many hours we have spent in this chamber discussing the forestry programme 2023 to 2027 that it is subject to state aid approval from the European Commission and is also subject to ongoing strategic environmental assessment, appropriate assessment processes, which is a critical step in the process of securing state aid approval. The new state aid approval rules came into force only at the start of 2023, and we were not in a position to begin our process in advance of this. From the first opportunity when the new rules came into force, my department has been engaging intensively with the Commission. And this has been a huge effort by all involved in my department. But I am pleased to confirm that the formal state aid notification for the new forestry programme has been submitted, and we are now awaiting formal approval of the Commission to the programme. This is something not something I nor my department are in control of. It really is in the hands of the Commission, but we are satisfied that we have made the best possible submission and have addressed their concerns. Not all schemes under the programme require state aid approval under guidelines, and earlier this week, under the Agricultural Block Exemption Regulation, my department opened 2 schemes for applications: the Forest Roads Scheme and the Innovative Forest Technology Scheme, Module 2 Investment Aid for the Development of the Forest Tree Nursery Sector. It is important to note, however, that no new approvals can be issued under these or any other schemes until the appropriate environmental processes have been concluded. However, it should also be noted that for all afforestation files currently in the system, they will continue to be processed up to the point of approval, after which will be, once we get the state aid approval, we will be able to issue those licences. While the department cannot issue licences for grant-aided afforestation, roads or forestry support schemes until the new programme is in place, felling licences have continued to issue, and to date, in 2023, 957 felling licences have issued for over 11,000 hectares. And in recognition for the need for planting activity to continue, and pending the launch of the new programme, my department engaged with the Commission last December to secure an interim solution, which has led to the introduction of an interim afforestation scheme via general de minimis, an interim forest road scheme, and an interim ash dieback reconstitution and underplanting scheme. This ensured that those with valid licence approvals issued before the end of 2022 could avail of the current planting season under the higher grant and premium rates proposed to be paid under the new programme. To date, in 2023, a total of 261 applications have been approved under the interim afforestation scheme, representing over 1,500 hectares. Under the interim road scheme, 71 approvals have issued, representing over 27,000 metres. Of the 1,583 hectares approved in 2023 for afforestation under this interim scheme, over 700 hectares of planting has been completed, and planting has commenced on a further area in excess of 500 hectares. In addition, we have, in the first quarter of this year, paid for the planting of 195 hectares carried out under the previous forestry programme, which will also be included in the 2023 planting figures. Forestry payments continue to issue under the old programme, and in the first quarter of 2023 there has been a total spend of €42,728,570, mainly on forestry premiums for existing forests, with over €4 million of that figure paid in grants so far this year.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, the question was precisely, and you've confirmed again it's been submitted. I asked you when it was submitted. Could you just tell us when the form was completely submitted? Because I can't seem to get that direct answer. That's a simple question, and it's in the Commencement Matters. Secondly, there was no statement. Your statement has not been circulated to me. Every Commencement Matters circular, but I'm sitting here. Yeah, but I mean, this happened the last time. Everyone is issued with a circular. I had not had the opportunity. Yeah, I appreciate that, thanks. But I hadn't had an opportunity to study that when I was listening to your 4 minutes. But anyway, just to finish on a few points. Forestry is in crisis, let's face up to the fact. And this is now, we're heading into May, and no approvals have been given, despite all the promises by yourself and the Minister. When this was launched in November, this strategy and plan was launched in November 2022. We are now entering into May 2023 and no approvals have been given. Forestry is in crisis. And I finish on this point, Minister, and I'd respectfully ask you to do this. Would you please engage, I've asked many times, would you please engage with CIFA, which is a social, economic and environmental forestry association that has requested a high-level meeting with you and the Minister to discuss the forestry crisis?
Thank you, Senator. I mean, I don't think I need to reiterate, but perhaps I do, that the issue of the state aid approval has been well flagged. It has been known since before the new year that we were awaiting the new state aid guidelines, that we wouldn't be able to launch a brand new scheme on the 1st of January because we had to engage with the Commission. We had to seek, engage and seek the state aid approval. That process, that I suppose informal process, is now complete. The formal submission has been made, and recently, I don't have the date.
You're telling me you don't have the date?
I do have the date. I don't have the date on me. I can find it for you and we can let you know.
Here before commencement matter.
The formal submission has been made. And we are confident that we have addressed all the concerns the Commission had in the informal engagement. And I think it's unfair for you to say that the forestry sector is in crisis. I've been visiting forests around the country, most recently at the weekend in my own constituency. There are a lot of happy foresters out there, and we are going to have a lot of happy foresters in the future. However, we have a balance to strike here. We have a programme that must meet the now increasingly challenged space that is environmental legislation, environmental conditions, and we believe we have done that, and we look forward to farmers of the future, young and old, engaging in forestry. Thank you.
Thank you.